Hi, this is Jerry Rosenthal, Mindset Development Coach, and I want to welcome you to Friday's message. You know, a week and a half ago, I celebrated my 47th birthday. And every year that I have a birthday, I always like to spend a little time reflecting. I love to look back at the previous year and see all the blessings that I had, and also look at some of the challenges and things that I want to grow in and improve in the future. But this particular year, for some reason, I looked back a little bit farther than that. And I actually looked back to 4 years ago, before I actually began coaching for champions. And I can remember a night that I was sitting in my bed, and I was completely frustrated and completely discouraged. It had been 5 years since God had saved me from suicide. And yet I still hadn't seen these major changes in my life that I thought I would see. And I have to be honest and I have to be transparent with you that in that moment, as I was looking back, wondering when were things going to change, when was the next part of my life going to start, for the very first time in my life, I actually felt like giving up. I actually felt like quitting. I felt like throwing in the towel. I just felt like nothing was ever going to work. And I was tired, and I was weary, and I was just completely worn out. Have you ever been in that place before? Have you ever been in that place where you're working so hard and you're pushing forward and you're trying to do what you know you want to do, yet it's not working the way it's supposed to? And we have that tendency to get tired and weary and worn down, and we start with the discouragement and the frustrations. We start questioning things, and it's those very things that we do that eventually knock us off the course of our destiny. And as I was sitting in the bed that night, going through these emotions that I was feeling, a scripture came to me. And that scripture really changed the tone, not only of my mindset, but changed the tone of what was going to happen from that point on. And it was in Galatians 6:9, and it said, "Do not grow weary in doing good, for in the proper time you will reap a harvest if you do not quit." Man, I can't tell you the impact that those words had on me in that very moment. Do not grow weary in doing good. And the key to that whole scripture was in the proper time. And see, so many times we get frustrated because things are not happening exactly the way that we want them to in the time frame that we want them to happen. And we start going through these challenges in our mindset that are stopping us and preventing us from winning. But we have to understand that in the proper time, things are going to happen for us. Breakthroughs are going to occur. All the things we've been working through are going to bust. But we've got to be able to work beyond the challenges in our mind so that the proper time will come. And when it does, we're still here to be able to take advantage of it. And one of the traits that I learned to develop during that time, while I was waiting for that proper time, is the character trait of determination. You know, determination is one of those things that will get us through the trials of life, the challenging time, the storms that we go through. We have to be determined to get up and keep fighting, even if we're tired, even if we're worn out. Because most of the time when people give up, they're this close away from actually crossing the finish line and changing the course of their life. That scripture spoke to my spirit. And then 2 months later, I launched Coaching for Champions, and the rest is history. And I know that there's some of you out here listening to this right now that feel just like I did 4 years ago. And I want to take this time to encourage you to not give up, to not throw in the towel, to not quit. You know, sometimes we grow weary in comparing ourselves to others. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Sometimes we grow weary when we don't see the results we want. Stop comparing. Stop looking at other results. Focus on what you can do. Focus on what you're doing now. And every day, work on getting one step better. Every single day. And as you do that and you keep moving forward, in due season, your harvest will come if you don't give up. And I was encouraged this week by a story that I read. And because my mind is not that great to remember an entire story, I'm going to read it to you. And I want to share this story with you because it will inspire you like it inspired me. July 4th of 1951, there was a lady named Florence Chadwick who swam into the waters off of Catalina Island. And she intended to be the first woman in history to swim the 21 miles from the island of Catalina to the California coast. And long-distance swimming wasn't new to her because she'd been the very first woman to swim the English Channel in both directions. The challenge that day for her was not so much the distance of the swim, but the bone-chilling waters of the Pacific. And making things more difficult, a dense fog had fallen over the area and was so thick, she could hardly see the boats in front of her or the boats behind her. See, the boats were there to help keep her on course and to keep the sharks away from her. Her mother was in the front boat, her trainer was in the back boat with a few other people. She swam on, and never seeing further than the boat ahead of her because of the fog. And she began to complain about the water. She wanted to get out. Her mother cheered her on as she swam a little farther, and then she said, "I'm done. I'm tired. I can't do this. I'm finished." Her trainer cheered her on, but instead she insisted that she was finished. And after about 15 hours in that bone-chilling water, she gave up, only to discover when she got out of the water that she had quit within a half a mile of her goal. See, later she told a reporter, "If I could have seen the land, I might have made it." Well, next year, 1952, she completed the feat. She attempted the feat again. And once more, this misty veil obscured the coastline, and she couldn't even see the shore. But this time, she made it because she kept reminding herself land was there. And with that confidence, she swam on and achieved her goal. And in fact, she broke the men's record by over 2 hours. See, what I want to encourage you today is that no matter how it looks, land is right up ahead. Your harvest is right up ahead. Everything that you've been working for is right up ahead. And no matter how you feel, and no matter how challenging it is, do not grow weary in doing good, because in the proper time, you're going to reap that harvest if you don't quit. And that harvest is right in front of you. And I encourage you today to keep swimming, keep going after it, and it will become yours, and it will change your life forever. I hope this message encourages you and speaks to your spirit. And if you'd like to see any other training videos, or actually find out where my champion summits will be around the country, I encourage you to go to my website, coaching4champions.com. Thank you so much for tuning in to our Friday message today, and I will look forward to seeing you back here next week with another message of encouragement and inspiration. Make it a blessed week, everybody.